Hi, and welcome back to the Royster Real Estate Group, Peter and Vicky Royster, and our top 10 question video series. Today we're doing it on title, and we have with us Joellen Newton from University Title. We appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Thank you.
So we're going to jump into some questions. I guess the first question is, who the heck is Earnest, and why does he want my money?
Well, earnest money is a good faith payment that the buyer puts down at
Okay.
the beginning of the transaction to show that they're serious about purchasing the property.
Yep, absolutely. And then a part of that obviously is option fee money.
Yes.
And nowadays, both of them are paid to the title company.
Yes.
And of course, option fee is for the unrestricted right to be able to back out of a contract during a time period. It's usually a 7 or a 10-day window.
Exactly.
And the good news is at the end, if you go through with the transaction, you do get credit back for it
Credit
at
back
closing.
for the beginning. And now with all the new changes, we're actually accepting the earnest money and option fee together in one check.
And sometimes I've seen different things like almost electronically, or they're working on different ways to be able to somehow get it to title
Deliver
companies.
it, absolutely. We actually
ultimately.
have access to a new application called Zachem.
Yep.
So you can now send all of your option and earnest money into University Title via Zachem.
Yeah, which makes it really easy in terms of having to run and get checks and do all that kind of fun stuff.
Exactly.
So will the title company take a personal check if needed?
Yeah, we can take a personal check for the earnest money. When it comes to the money you need to bring in for closing, though, we do ask for good funds. Good funds are considered a cashier's check or a wire.
Yeah, so they have to know the funds are actually there. Crazy
Yes.
thought. Okay, and so does it matter what title company to use? And I will answer that just to start with. Yes, it does very much.
Very
Now,
much.
There's a lot of good ones. I'm not trying to act like there's, one, but there are very good ones too, hence the reason why you have
Exactly.
this here.
And at University Title, we are extremely,
Kind of due diligent on doing everything, start to finish.
at University Title, we are very concerned about the experience that our customers have.
Yeah.
We are highly focused on customer service, and that is really what sets us apart from other title
Yeah,
companies.
and the communication part.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the big
Communication
key.
is key.
From the realtor side, there's nothing worse than not knowing what's going on and going, did y'all get this done or stuff like that. So being able to have that
Exactly,
communication
and
is
choosing
huge.
the right title company that you know,
Yeah.
that you trust, and that you work with frequently really makes a big difference in how your transaction goes.
Yep, absolutely. So as a part of the things that you do, and trust me, they do a lot more behind the scenes than you think, kind of like us. What is title insurance and why is it needed?
So title insurance is actually a unique type of insurance that protects the buyer from anything that maybe wasn't picked up during the title search, the research process of it.
Okay.
And so it's going to protect the buyer in the future from anything coming back to haunt them, so to speak, after
Okay.
they've closed on the transaction.
Yeah, so a lot of it can be, or I guess part of the main things are like liens that may be on
Yes.
the house from the seller that's selling that you as the buyer don't want to go, wait a second, why am I paying that?
Exactly.
So it's trying to capture all of that and make sure that that's getting paid for by the seller at closing.
Exactly. And if for some reason any of those items happen to be missed, which doesn't happen often, but you never know, that's what your title policy is then going to protect you for in the future.
Yep, absolutely. And it's really important because you want to feel like, and I always kind of joke, if you win the lottery the next day, you're hoping the only thing you're paying is your loan and not, whoops, wait a second, we had
Right.
something else that we had to bring
Left
into this
over from
thing.
the people that owned it before.
So who typically pays for the title insurance? And granted, that's kind of a unique thing because it's different, or it's negotiated, but it can be different right now.
Exactly. So it is a negotiable part of the contract, and we see most of the time we see sellers paying for it.
Yeah.
However, since it is negotiable, buyers do pay for it sometimes too, and especially in a market like we're in today.
Yeah, and the market like we're in right now is, in a lot of cases, it may be it's an advantage for a buyer to say, we'll take on that charge and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
And we
So,
are seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah. So title insurance policy premiums, are they regulated?
Absolutely. The policy premium itself is regulated by the Texas Department of Insurance.
Okay.
Now, different title companies might have escrow fees that vary from company to company, but in regards to what you're paying for your actual title policy and any endorsements that go along with that policy, that is regulated by
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah.
We all charge the same thing.
Yeah, so there's not a difference there. So how long will the title policy protect a buyer?
It protects the buyer for the entire time that they own the home.
Okay.
So from the day that they take possession of the home all the way
Okay.
through until when they sell it.
Okay, cool. Okay. And so kind of getting into the closing part, what typically does somebody need to bring or make sure they bring to closing besides themselves and their money?
Money is the number one most important thing. And like I said before, when you're coming to closing, you do want to bring what's called good funds, so a wire or a cashier's check. Obviously, we are going to need a valid government-issued picture ID, which can be more than just a driver's license as long as it's government issued.
Yeah.
It's still valid is the most important thing, and your picture's on it. And then anything your agent might tell you to bring as well, keys, invoices, garage door openers, all of those types of things.
Yeah, so your Blockbuster card will not work.
No, it will
Just
not.
want to throw that out there. And there's probably people going, Blockbuster? Who the heck is that? Anyways, so how long is a typical closing? And of course, part of that is if it's a loan versus cash.
Exactly, and it depends on the type of transaction. Typically, we can get a seller on any transaction in and out in about 30 minutes.
Okay.
A buyer with a loan is going to take a little longer, but we try to keep everything under an hour.
Yeah, and I think part of it becomes, how many questions they may have as you're
Exactly.
going through things, just stuff like that.
How difficult the transaction may have been.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean don't ask the question.
No, absolutely
You
not.
know,
Please ask the
you
questions.
definitely want to make sure at the end of this deal that as a buyer and really as a seller too, you're comfortable that everything happened and all that kind of stuff in the right way. So what happens if you're unavailable to attend the closing? That's number 10.
Well, no worries. If you're unavailable to come to closing, we do have lots of options for you. First and foremost, we can do a mobile notary that comes to you.
Okay.
If you're going to be maybe in another country, which we do see a lot, University Title is able to do what's called a remote online notarization now. So
cool.
as long as you have access to the internet and a camera, we can get you closed as long as if there's a lender involved, they're agreeable.
Okay.
And then, we ourselves will travel and come to you depending on the situation. So there's lots of ways that we can get the closing facilitated even if you're unavailable to be there. Oh, and a power of attorney. That's another one I forgot.
Yep.
You can also utilize a power of attorney in those situations.
And if it's a power of attorney, they just have to be able to talk to you on the phone for a quick minute that morning of whatever of the closing.
Yes, exactly. It's
make sure
called-
you're still alive, wanting to do this.
Exactly.
All that kind of stuff.
It's what we call ratifying the power of attorney, and
Okay.
you do have to be available no matter where you are. Even if you're on a submarine, we still have to be able to
We
make
did it
sure
on a
you're
cruise
still
ship.
alive and willing.
Yep, one of our clients was on a cruise ship,
Oh, okay.
and we said, get by the phone, one of
Yes,
those kind of
yes.
things.
It's a quick call.
Well, we hope this was helpful for you. We hope if you have some extra questions, this will be on, obviously, Facebook and YouTube. Definitely put some posts down there if you've got some other questions that you'd like for us to answer.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you watching. We hope you'll continue to watch these as we bring out more of them. And if there's a particular 10-question concept from a particular vendor, we're working on, inspectors and pull guys and just all that kind of stuff. But if there's one you're looking for, let us know. Again, we appreciate you coming out.
Well,
and
thank you.
we're the
Happy
Royster
to
Real
be here.
Estate Group, University Title. And we look forward to seeing you soon.